What's up, Martians, and welcome back to my TikTok. I am back bringing you another bombshell video. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be dropping some bombs. So make sure you guys are prepared. So I recommend that you go get your drink, go get your juice, go get your water, and sip on some of this tea I'm about to bring out. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right in it. So you guys know a few days ago, I got into the book called The Lost Continent. And in this book, they basically admit how the Americas and the Western Islands are pieces of Atlantis. Now, when I say pieces, I mean the surviving landmass pieces of Atlantis. And with all due honesty, I think we could close the case on that one. I mean, out of all the books I've been giving out to you guys, they basically jump out at us that the Western Islands, including America, is Atlantis. But no, I want to talk about what Trump really wants with Greenland. Because this one page that I found could explain a lot. Now, I'm going to read the entire page to you guys, the things that are important. But I'm going to break down everything to you guys so we can understand it. Now, at the beginning of this paragraph, it says the Polynesian Islands, which would be the fourth part, aka the Western Islands, where civilization began and of whose submergence Plato's Atlantis story is but an echo. When Ruta sank, other lands like India rose from the sea. Okay, that goes back confirming our theory on how these lands were submerged in water and then rose back up to sea level. But we already have that knowledge. Moving on, it goes on to say, the first root race living in the polar sacred land, or Polaria, had astral bodies only and therefore would be invisible to us. If our clairvoyant powers enable us to see them at all, they would look like a gigantic egg-shaped phantoms. Next, it says the second root race had physical bodies, as these were made of ether. They too would be invisible to all but trained occultists. Now remember, a couple videos back I explained to you guys what masonry was, or occultism. And as you can see from reading this, they refer to clairvoyancy to occultism. Now, if you don't know what clairvoyant means a person with supernatural abilities. And I say supernatural loosely is because them folks can't do it. So anything beyond what they can't do, they call supernatural. Just keep that in mind. Moving on. Here comes the bombshell, y'all. They lived in the great northern continent of Hyporborea, of which Greenland, Iceland, and the northern extremities of Europe and Siberia are remnants. Did you guys just hear what I just read? Now, remember my last video, I broke down Hyporborea. If you don't remember, here's a refresher. It says, Hyporborea was a fabulous place of eternal spring located in the far north. Its people were blessed, long-lived race, untouched by war, hard toil, and the ravages of old age and disease. Now listen to this. Hyporborea was usually described as a continent-bound land bordered on the north by the great earth encircling river Oceanus, and on the south, the peaks of the legendary Riphaen Mountains. You guys peep how they said that it was encircling the earth meaning Atlantis, you guys. And if you read down a little bit further down, it says how their capital contained a circular temple dedicated to the gods. And by the way, you guys, if you guys haven't picked up your copy of my hypervisual reimagination of Atlantis, head over to my Etsy. It is completely easy to download it instantly and receive your copy. Okay, y'all know I had to slide that in there, all my hard work. Now, back to the reading. So, in very few words, Greenland is Hyporborea, which was once a surrounding continent of Atlantis. And we just read how this energy, ether, could be there. I mean, yes, the people, they said, were made of ether, But the way they describe this place, I'm wondering if it's very rich in some type of energy or minerals that, we don't know about. I mean, really think about why Trump is so gun-ho on just taking Greenland. He not asking no questions. He just want to take it. I mean, what's over there? Now, it goes on to say this. In due course, Hyporborea broke up, and the equally great southern continent of Lemuria took form. Now, Lemuria took form, after Hyporborea broke up. Now, stay with me, y'all. I know it's a lot of reading, but I'm getting to the juicy stuff. Just let me cook. Now, if you refer to my older videos, I had a theory about how certain groups of people are not 100% made by the Most High, which would be from the earth. I'm sorry, you guys. All this information is going so fast in my brain right now. But I spoke about how there was a mad scientist by the name of Yaqub who comes down from Isaac's line. He was a protester, went against a lot of teachings, and was exiled to Patmos Island, which is across from Greater Lemuria if you take a look at the map. Using his clairvoyant powers, created the yellow, brown, and the white race from a bacteria from the African American man. You see how we just learned that word clairvoyant? You see how I just put in the sentence? You see how I did that? That's all I'm doing, you guys. I'm just plugging in the information. But here's another bombshell if you made it this far. It says Lemuria flourished in the Mesozoic era and then was infested by dinosaurs and other dangerous reptiles. Don't this kind of remind you of that movie Jurassic Park and that faraway island that they flew to that was all secluded? But the whole time, what were they doing? Experiments on that island. Keep that in mind, you guys. Because remember a few videos back, I mentioned how these folks like to use islands to do these lab dirty work type creations. I mean, hello, Epstein Island. Oh no, it's more. Now, it goes on to say, when the Manu, one of the supernatural supervisors of the Theosophical universe, decided to bring human evolution a step further. What does that sound like, guys? That sounds like cloning. That sounds like maybe creating your own race. And who could this Manu of supernatural supervisors, who could this be? Could it be Yaqub? Because whoever it is possessed the same supernatural powers as Abaris. Now, I'm not going to go over who Abaris is again. You guys can watch my last video about that. Remember, they spoke about in ancient Greek literature how basically Abaris was a rapper. He was a rapper, y'all, who was from Hyporborea but left and traveled to Greece and all around the world, being a masonry or occultist, using his clairvoyant supernatural powers to heal the sick and to teach. And the reason why I call him a rapper is because they call him a rapper. They said he was a poet, a great poet, and how he put his poetry to music. He also talks about how one of his favorite instruments was the harp. Nevertheless, he was a rapper because they said that he went around doing this. But I'm just bringing him up to juxtapose him and Yaqub. These people come from a sacred line. They come from the Most High's line. That's why they were able to have and possess these clairvoyant skills. Now, because the folks didn't know how to do it, of course, when they came over here, they call everything supernatural, everything occult, everything is bad, everything's a demon. Remember, I told you guys what demon meant. Okay, moving on. We left off at bringing human evolution a step further. He took as his model the ape-like creature that had already evolved on other planets. Y'all. So you mean to tell me Planet of the Apes is real? Now look at this. It says Manu's first attempt resulted in jelly-like things with soft bones who could not stand up, but in time the structure of their bodies hardened. Now it goes on to say Lemurians reached their seventh sub-race They looked fairly humans. Their descendants on Earth today are such primitive people. Now, I'm going to stop right there because in another video, I'm going to get into exactly who started terrorizing God's chosen people. We're going to get to the bottom of this. But going back, you hear how they said they created their 7 subrace and it looked fairly human. Now, don't forget, you guys, who today is always in a race for mankind. Always trying to progress, so-called mankind. Or even becoming a better human. Think about that. And also think about why Trump really wants Greenland. What is on Greenland? What is actually on the land? Is there high, rich in minerals? Is this ether energy there? I don't know. What's the real tea? But, Martians, we're going to get to the bottom of all this. Don't worry. I'm here. We're going to get into these books and I'm going to share it with you guys. But that's all for now. I will catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and share your comments in the comment section. We are living in the end times, meaning the end of the Gentile reign. And, the Most High said all knowledge will be revealed.